Hello and welcome back, my friends. I'm Jędrek Schmidt and I'm here joined by the second best Polish player right now, Piotr Głogowski. Hi,
Also
Piotr.
known as Canister.
Also known as Canister. Pretty important thing to point out. And we are going right into the match. We are going right into the match. We can't really see the battlefield. Okay, now we can. So it's okay. So it is. Paweł Olewiński versus Friedman Walter, and also mono green against red black chain whirler.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the first time the red deck faces a green deck on this stream today.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
no,
you have not
no.
seen it.
We saw last round Paweł Pendarkowski against Daniel Prozek, and they were playing red black against mono green. So yeah, this is the second time that we're seeing this particular matchup, and we can see probably the best start that the green deck can have against this damage-based removal deck. So
Yeah, Paolo is for sure happy to both. It seems like he was on the play and got to play still if no. He was not actually on the play. He was
yeah,
on the draw, but he still got to curve Lanor Elves into a Steel Leaf Champion, which
Yeah.
is the like one of the reasons to play the green
Yeah.
Stompy deck.
and he will probably be even more happier when he see that his opponent is missing his third land drop, because I believe he's going to. Okay, so we can see that Paweł is playing the blue splash in the green deck. We can see a copy of Commit to Memory in his hand. What do you think about this, Piotr?
That is an option. That's a way to build this deck that has been picked up by some players after it had a mild success at the Pro Tour. Before the Pro Tour, most versions were utilizing the Black Splash for Scrap Scruncher and some side
okay.
answers like Our Bloody, Body Scarab,
So we can
Hazard.
here we can see the persistence in playing this green build Rampager. It ate up all of Paweł manas, but it provided him a very good blocker against these creatures. Although a single removal spell from Friedman can invalidate all that plan thanks to the Soulscar Mage. Yeah, and we
Yeah, like you could individually think that creatures with 4 points of toughness are pretty decent against mono red, but
like
there's a lot of trouble with that.
yeah,
Soulscar Mage puts a huge dent in the plan of blocking with those creatures.
yeah, and also Goblin Chain Whirler can finish up any 4 toughness creature, right?
Definitely. It happens a lot.
Okay, and this is another creature that Goblin Chain Whirler is very good against. Merfolk Branchwalker. Okay, so here we can see a Heart of Kieran getting played by Paweł, and looks like Friedman found his third land drop. Now I believe he has a Rekindling Phoenix in hand and other cards. I believe it is another 4 mana card because he didn't play anything this turn. So it is either removal spell or yeah, it looks like it is Hazoret, yeah. Paweł also with 2 cards in hand, looks to be Commit to Memory and Lanor Elves.
Yeah,
The second
commit the memory as a backup card. Paweł has this game mostly locked up.
Yeah, that's true. And Commit isn't a permanent answer, it's only temporary, but it will give him just enough tempo to finish this game, because it looks like he has 3 lethal attackers to 2 blockers from Friedman and 1 answer in hand, and we know 2 cards from Friedman's hand, and yep, this commit was enough to prompt the concession from Friedman. And looks like we are going to the second game in this match.
It was the first win for Paweł's Olewiński's team, we could also see that Denis Chemnitz won against Karol Mosna in their match.
So here we can see that Pavel's team is using green cards in his deck and that Friedman is playing red. So what are the possible configurations for his teammates?
Well, it's usually green, red, and
Control deck.
blue, black, or blue-white.
Yeah, maybe Esper.
Those are the remaining colors. Or if you want to play black-red and not overlap on colors at all, then you play a
Blue-white deck.
blue-white deck.
Yeah.
Interesting thing is that
It is.
the interesting thing is that Pavel's deck is splashing for commit, so he has a blue splash in his deck.
But
Therefore,
last round we saw team of Xant Prozek brothers that they were splashing. They were playing this exact deck, the mono green splashing blue. They also had blue white and red black. So I think this is a pretty smart configuration because.
but what are you doing then? Are you giving up on negates in this blue sideboard?
We can see spell pierces in
yeah.
Pavel's sideboard. I don't know if Prozek was playing the spell pierces or maybe negates. We didn't see any negates from Xand in blue white. We saw that Xand was playing some copies of Supreme Will in his main deck, which isn't very popular cards in blue white. So maybe this was some concession to the fact that you have to share cards with your teammates. But what I like about this particular configuration is that it allows you to have a full powered chain wheeler deck with all the power cards that you want, and Duress is definitely one of the powered cards, as I said earlier, because it is just so good against blue white, and it allows you to play against cards like Settle the Wreckage much more effectively.
Yeah, Julius is great at punching Settle, of course.
Yep. So yep, probably we will jump in one of these games pretty quickly. Looks like all three tables are shuffling. So the result of the last table is that Bartosz Makosa has won the first game against Timo Siegelken. So yeah, we will surely go to some action very soon. And as you mentioned before, we start to covering this run. It is probably a win-and-win match for the top 8, because I don't know if both of those teams have 15 points. I don't know, so but if that's the case, it is probably a win and match. So okay, so here we can see Bartosz Makosa against Timo Siegelken, and looks like Bartosz is on red-black Chain Whirler and Timo is on Esper. So
yeah, as you mentioned, Duress playing Cas by the red-black deck.
Yep.
Settle the Wreckage is one of the possible targets.
Yeah, of course. But I believe Esper is much better against Duress than Blue White, because you have some unconditional removals like Fatal Push that you can play around to some extent, but not nearly as much as you can play around Settle. So
usually Esper decks are much more centered around the card Torrential Gearhawk, so that makes them that much more resilient to Duress, just because of that, because your most potent cards are actually unable to be discarded by those.
Yeah, while Blue-White is, you can say, a Teferi deck, and Blue-Black is a Scarab God deck, Esper is definitely a Torrential Gearhulk deck, in the sense that most lists are playing 3 if not 4 copies of Torrential Gearhulk, and as Piotr mentioned, it just brings so much resiliency to the Esper deck against discard spells. And from this configuration, we can figure out that Karol Mosna is playing probably some kind of control deck, and Denis Chemnitz is almost assuredly on mono-red, not red-black, but mono-red. there might be like a little splash for Scrapheap Scrounger, but probably Esper is taking the Duresses, so it is
Yeah.
probably a mono red deck.
That's a pretty huge duress. It's gonna take Glimmer of Genius, presumably, yeah. Stranding him with a Settle Wreckage that he cannot even cast for now and for the
Yeah,
next
because
turn.
the mana base in standard is so good.
And getting a few extra hits with those Pomad Couriers, possibly just outgrinding the Torrential Gearhawks before they come down.
Yeah, that's the
Timo
way.
definitely very happy to pick up that Fatal Push to
Yeah.
answer the bigger
Exactly.
Pomad Courier.
That's basically the best way you can answer cards, like, right? You can kill your opponent before they get to play these cards. Okay, so here we can see Chandra, Torch of Defiance, the Eldest Reborn, and Unlicensed Disintegration, and Bartosz Hand, and this is turn 4 of the game, and I mentioned earlier that I think this is one of the most important turns of this matchup. What do you think about it?
Well, 4 drops are the most crowded and most powerful
Yeah, exactly.
spot in the red-black's deck square, so that certainly has some
Yeah.
truth to it.
Yeah, so this is the turn when you, as an aggressive deck, should probably pull a trigger on something to not let your opponent just resolve Glimmer of Genius freely, because Glimmer of Genius on relatively low pressure board like this can just pull control players so much ahead. But Chandra is a perfect card for this situation because you
Yeah,
can
Timo is drawing extra removal spells, it's looking pretty grim.
yeah,
It's missing land drops.
exactly.
He only has those Torrential Gearhawks, so he's not gonna be able to utilize them.
Yeah, but for example, if Timo draws Vraska's Contempt right now, if this Chandra shows some blank and it showed blank, right? Not blank, but 2 damage without expanding board presence for Bartosz. Now, a top decked Vraska's Contempt makes this game pretty even. So yeah, it's still not like one of them is out of this game.
Bartosz is seemingly giving consideration to playing this Eldest Reborn.
Yeah, just to set this clock of reanimating some scary creature like Bombat Courier in 2 turns. Yeah, but he has enough of a scary clock in Chandra Torch of Defiance, I think. Oh, yeah. This
I will
Doomfall,
be really tempted to play it, though, because
yeah,
then you get to spend your mana, you get to
Yeah,
put
exactly.
some pressure,
Exactly.
force your opponent to either discard the Settle or
Yeah.
like they cannot discard Gearhawk because it's just too big.
yeah, exactly. I think that especially when your opponent is so stacked on mana, you have to make the best use of your mana as possible, because you're just pushing this advantage towards you. So yeah, I would have probably played Eldest Reborn 2 turns ago as well.
Because Bartosz is now playing slightly reactively, which is kind of
Yep.
awkward for a
Yep.
red-black deck. Granted, he mostly knows that he can afford to do so,
Yeah, but
and this turn is probably a turn where he just goes for
yeah, I think
Chandra emblem and
yeah, I think this is a
either
pretty clear emblem
disallow
because
or
yeah,
the game ends.
yeah.
Back to
Timo had just 1 card window to draw disallow, because the rest of his hand was known to Bartosz thanks to this Doomfall. And now this game is almost, or probably, certainly unwinnable for Timo. There is no way of coming back from this Chandra emblem with relative parity on the board, other than this emblem. It's not like Bartosz is dying anytime soon, so
yeah, Timo's not gonna prevent him from casting a spell throughout the duration of the game.
yeah, because I believe that Timo drew into Vraska's Contempt, but it's still 2 more spells from
And then he
Bartosz.
still loses. Bartosz is holding a Anchor Pressure.
Yeah, that's enough. Now
does that.
he will either just untap and play it, or shows him that he has Anchor Crusher.
5 to you and haste.
Yeah, and it is probably enough. So we can see a little bit of joy
So
on
Bartosz
Bartosz's
is
side.
earning a match win for his team.
Yeah. And following the instructions of Bartosz's t-shirt, Timo never gave up until he was dead on board.
Exactly.
So here we will go to one of those remaining matchups. Looks like we're back into mono green versus red deck. You can see, or rather green deck versus red deck. And we can see Galtas making an appearance, a beloved dinosaur from Rivals of Ixalan, which is a very good card against red deck, although it's considerably worse if your opponent is holding up disintegration in his hand.
It's not like, doesn't seem like Walter is playing with disintegration in his deck at all.
Yeah.
He has Fight with Fire in hand, which usually signifies
Yeah.
that
So
Dragon
probably,
Skull Summits are mostly for splashing
yeah. You can see,
Scroungers.
yeah, you can see one Canyon Slew in his mana base, so they are probably just serving as an additional copies of black mana for Scroungers and maybe some insurance to flat.
14 and 20, life totals?
Okay. But this situation does not look good for Pavel. I don't. Okay, now we have correct life totals.
Yeah, so for 4.
I
And
think so. I think it looks pretty great for Pavel.
yeah. Did I said otherwise?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, my mistakes. Apologize everybody. I think the situation looks really good for Pavel, and with those life totals being reasonably safe for both players, and Friedman missing his 5th land for this Glory Bringer, he's probably dead on board.
Yeah, his Glorybringer wouldn't help by the way. Galta,
Yeah.
Rona's Heart of Kiran is basically Exodia.
Yeah, just as you said. Especially if you are not running unlicensed in your deck, you can really break this up, and you have one, maximum 2 turns to do so. Probably just one. Okay, so here we have a correction from our team of coverage that no teams are currently in top 8 contention play, so this match is not win and in. I apologize everybody for saying this earlier. And in the middle is playing, yeah. In the middle there is a matchup of red deck against probably blue-white deck. Okay, so here we can see,
Walter is desperately looking for a way.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I believe he will either concede very quickly or just make Olewiński go through the motions of killing him. Yeah,
Yeah, that was not the way.
yeah. And looks like, yeah, there is no way that Friedman is untapping in this match anymore. Even the green build Rampager to crew Heart of Kiran is just an icing on the cake. And we will see a handshake very soon. Okay, looks like there is some amount of explaining between Olewiński and Walter. And it's pretty guaranteed swing with the team and the hand extension. So the team of Olewiński, Mosna and Makosa prevailed upon Walter, Chemnitz and Siegelken with a pretty convincing win.
Yeah, that was one of the quickest matches that we've seen today.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how much time it took. Looks like around 25 minutes. Oh, even quicker. Not even 20 minutes. Yeah. So, what are your impressions from this match? Do you have anything to say?
Well, these are the ways that the red decks plays games very frequently. Like, it can look very, very bad for you if your draw does not line up, because the nature of a card like Hazard requires you to draw, like, puts even more emphasis on drawing a reasonable amount of reasonable mix of lands and spells. If you fail to do it one way or the another, it's gonna be pretty bad for you, and that's how the matchup of red deck versus green deck frequently goes.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, who do you think is advantaged? Like, if everything lines up correctly, do you think red deck has an advantage?
Yeah, I believe that red deck is actually
Favored.
favorite overall in the deck.
Okay, so but the green deck has to be very good at punishing those mistakes very quickly, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And here we can see that the players are de-sideboarding. We can see 3 copies of Nissa Vital Force on the sideboard. A card that is, in my opinion, very big player in those green decks. I think this is your most important card against other control, not other, against control decks.
It is indeed very good.
Okay. So looks like this is everything that we have for you this round. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you after a longer break than usual, because as we said, this match ended up very quickly. So yeah, we'll see you next round. Hi.